introduce maybe some people from the community, maybe also our board members, so you can know who they are. And some of our guests. First, I'd like to introduce members. We have Willie Rosales over there. Willie, can you stand up? He will be one of the facilitators for the second part. We have Paul Honest. He is one of our co-founders, one of our most faithful members in our board. We have Art Judosio. He is one of our newer members who just graduated from National University with his MPH in health promotion or in mental health. Yeah. We have Ben Makayan over there. He has retired but from our board, but he still comes to our meeting, so we appreciate his coming. Who else are the members? Yeah. We have Loretta Villame. She will also be facilitating the forum. Any other board members? What's that? Okay. We have some guests also, and we're happy to have them as guests, and also because they have been, contributing to Kalusugan. We have Lydia Duro here and Faye. They're from the Cosmopolitan Lions Club. We have Dan Dominguez. She's from COPAL. We have Rita Andrews, who was the chair of COPAL for a long time. We have Dr. Aurora Kudal. She's with NAPA. And she's just been very active with Kalusugan, one of our staff members in the past. We have Jimmy Sober. And he is also very active in the community. Who else? We have Joe Garbanzos. He's also a volunteer now with Kalusugan. We have Dr. Nodora. He's one of our prospective board members. He's a faculty member in the at UCSD, in the Department of Family and Community Medicine. And we have some guests here, Mr. Williams from North County. Maybe I would call on the others. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Renee Ross. I was actually invited by Dale Roberts to come here.
Okay.
From those sites.
Okay. And the two ladies here.
Oh, I'm Elaine, Regina.
Oh,
Regina.
Regina. Okay, with the group.
Yeah.
Okay. We also have some students who are volunteers. We have Anthony De Guzman. We have June Garcia. He's an intern from National University, working on his MPH also. And we have the group of Walter Davis and his wife, and a guest. And I will let maybe Walter say something because he is broadcasting, this workshop. So maybe you can tell us, where it will be shown.
Right. Well, this is being broadcast on two of my channels right now. It's on Google Plus Hangout. And that's Walter Davis Global Broadcasting at gmail.com, and also on a system called ComF5. So this is going to be accessible by hundreds of people, if not thousands, live right now, even in the Philippines or Spain or anywhere in California. I've been announcing it on Facebook and Twitter and things like that, so that people know a lot of folks are interested. It's going to be recorded as well. So if you want to get a copy, you can send me a text to 95577, and you just text the word easy, and then I'll put you on my email listing, and I'll be able to email you the link, and you get my business card as well, so you can't do texting campaigns.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that service, and we will get his address later on also. So I hope I didn't miss anybody. And I'd like to introduce our MC for this morning, Mr. Sim Silverio. He is the editor and publisher of the Asian Journal. I also want to let you know that the issue of the Asian Journal for this week, I have an article there that I wrote about human trafficking in the Americas and in the Philippines. So be sure to get a copy of that. Where are the Asian Journal? Yeah, I guess it's over there. Okay, so please make sure you get a copy. So, Sim.
Good morning to everyone. I'm King Silverio. I'm the publisher of the San Diego Asian Journal, a Filipino-American community in San Diego County. Actually, you meet somebody, very important person. Mr. Queen Fabi. Queen Fabi is a long-time community leader in San Diego. And the reason I mentioned him is because he just published his book, about his members as a Filipino-American Navy retiree, and it's out in the press now. When I was told about the subject in today's forum, the Filipino Forum, I remember my childhood days in downtown Quiapo in Manila. Quiapo in Manila, in the United States, is just like the Wall Street in New York. It's during that time, 1950s, 1960s, that was the hub of activity, commercial activity. And naturally, with the commercial activity comes the CD or the illegal activities also. We live on the apartment on top of our printing press in Quiapo. And I was there since I was 10, although we had the printing press, my father's business, printing press, since 1946. But in 1957, we moved there. We lived in an apartment, and my father had a printing press. But across the street is the prostitution den. It's been there ever since, as far as the neighborhood people can remember. As a young child, at the age of 10, we don't mind about it. We play with the children, the prostitute. It's natural for us to see prostitutes, inviting Jones to the small tunnel of passageway inside, which was a mystery to us. It's dark. We have not been there until I have a playmate, who's the son of a prostitute who led me there. And so we're so used to having, there's not much TV at that time. So our entertainment in the evening is whenever there would be a rumble across the street in front of the prostitution den. Because it turned out that one of the Jones, during the activity, some of the pimps will pick up the wallet in the pants that are hanging there. So occasionally there will be rumbles. Occasionally, there will be token raids by the police, Token because I knew for a fact that it was just for a show. Because how could that activity operate without the, permission of the police? So it's token. And then my first encounter with human trafficking was when we had a maid from the Visayas, one of the poor areas in the Visayas, where they recruit maids, to work in Manila. And our maid was recruited by an legitimate employment agency. That's where we get our maids at that time. Helga Employment Agency, a friend of my parents. And during her first day in our house, she was looking, across the street. And then she saw somebody he knew from her town, and he shouted, "How come you're there? Bakit nandiyan ka?" Because that maid, that woman, she was supposed to go to Manila to become a maid, and they were not able to track her down. And then right away, the woman went inside, tried to hide, went inside the dark, mysterious passageway. And then when our maid asked my mom, he said, that she's a prostitute. She's, she works as a prostitute. And the maid was surprised because how could she be when she came from a very, very good. So that's when we realized that when she was recruited by somebody, an illegal recruiter, she was forced to work as a prostitute. And she could not do anything about it. Once you are forced to work, you're there, you are captive, and you are a victim of human trafficking. You lost your freedom. And then when I was a journalism student, during our internship, we used to go with the police reporters of the Filipino newspaper at the time, Manila Times. And during that time, part of the activity is to visit this prostitution plant during police raid. And so I get to see for myself the young girls. They're lined up, and they are being, you choose to pick, and then you go for a few bucks, and they are held, as captive also. There is a police Chinese maintainer who owns the den, and they are forced to work as a prostitute. They cannot go out. They are just fed like animals, and until they get used to it, they're so helpless. They don't, they lost their freedom. I just remember it right now, and now that we are already at this age, zero, we realize that human trafficking is a problem that we try to ignore. We turn away from it. We try to sweep it under the rug. We pretend that it doesn't exist because we go on, live our merry good life. We enjoy our travels. We enjoy our children. But then on the dark side of the world, there are maybe 10, 20, 30, even 30, or 40, or no, maybe 30% of our fellow human beings that have lost their freedom, that are held against their means. I remember when during a visit to Disneyland, I was a very small daughter, and for a few minutes, he could not find her. She was supposed to live with us, we're traveling, and he could not find her. We were so shocked. We're looking for her. What happened? What happened? And then I thought that, what will happen to her? Why we cannot find her? And I was so, the shock was so intense that seems like an end, of the world for me. So now you realize the feelings of the parents and the relatives of these women, young women, or even young boys, the victims of human trafficking. Even if they are poor, they're used to hardship. Can you realize the anguish? Can you realize the anguish, the agony that they feel if they get lost track of their loved ones? Like in the victim of the Malaysian aircraft, some of the relatives of the victim, they wanted it to be, discovered, so that at least they will know that what happened, the fate of their loved ones. At least they will know that they are already dead. But since they could not find him, the agony prevails. That's why, it's really very important for us to now focus our attention, our help to this issue of human trafficking. And we have somebody who is really, devoting her time, showing to us, reminding us about this problem. And they really need our help. And instead of going to dinner tonight, you can put some token of donation, in the spot. Not only not only to make you feel less guilty, but maybe from now on, you'll try to do as much help as you can. Thank you very much. So we have our speaker, Marisa, to talk to us about it.
Yeah. Reggie Garcia, who also works with her, will introduce Marisa Ugarte. Also in my article, there's a I wrote something about her. So if you want to know more about her, it's in the article. So Reggie, and she's a president of the South Bay Chamber of Commerce. So we also have Willie here, who is very active in the Chamber of Commerce. So you might connect with her. Okay, Reggie.
First of all, I would like to thank the Kalusugan for having me here, and also to Asian Journal. Thank you for sharing their story. I grew up in the Philippines. I drove that street Ermita, and in the morning there's nothing there. It's a ghost, but at night, it's just like, glowing. But also to Walter, thank you for your support for raising awareness. I appreciate it. Before I go to introduce Marisa, I would like to share your story. I read a book recently about a story about a businessman, a successful businessman, looking for a gift for her mom for Mother's Day. And he was kind of upset and looking around, and finally he found his exotic birds, out there, beautiful, exotic, colorful. He could sing, he could dance, and he could talk. And he was happy about it. He bought 2, and each one of those is $5,000. And he can't wait. He sent it to his mom. He can't wait to find out how things went when about the bird and his mom. So he called his mom, mother, how's the bird? How things going on with the bird and you? And then her mom says, it was delicious. And the son said, mother, you did not eat those. They could sing, they could dance, they could talk. Why did you eat those? It's $5,000 a piece. And the mother said, son, you didn't tell me. They should have talked. Right? But this story reminds me of someone that I'm honored to introduce next, because she has been speaking for the victims of human trafficking for almost 20 years. And she is the founder and the executive director of BSCC. BSCC stands for Bilateral Safety Corridor Coalition. And BSCC saved almost, I believe it's over 500 girls. The girls that does not have any strength to fight for themselves. There's no strength for them to speak for themselves. And BSCC has done those. And I believe without any reservation, the BSCC is a preeminent organization here in South Region for anti-human trafficking. So I am so pleased to welcome our guest today. She is an individual that goes out there and travels and speaks for the victims. She is an individual who helped a lot of organizations like ours and other coalitions to build programs aims to help the victims in the United States, Latin America, and Asia. She is going to be and continues to be the forefront of the fight for the human trafficking. So I can't wait to hear from her again today. Marisa Ugarte.
I'm so pleased to be here. If I sound, like a little bit worried, is that I had hip surgery 2.5 weeks ago, hip replacement. So sometimes I may get a little tired. But what do you know about human trafficking? I understand exactly what he said about one part of human trafficking, which is sex trafficking, but we also have labor trafficking. We have begging. We have servile marriages. We have all kinds of ways that we can recycle people, including organ trafficking, which will bring me to a lot of other things that a lot of people are missing. When I started this in 1997, I started discovering that there was human trafficking in San Diego. It was, through word of mouth in the northern fields, in the North County, in Escondido to be exact, and Vista, and the canyons, and they were prostituting girls that were being brought from Mexico to those fields, and they were prostituted in the fields. So my first client in 2000 was a girl named Reina. She was 15 years old, and she was being prostituted, and she had refused to go to the field that day, so she was getting beat up by the traffickers. When we rescued her in a domestic violence situation, and sooner and later come to find out that it wasn't, that it was blatant slavery and prostitution. She served maybe 20 to 30 men a day, and they had a kitchen timer for each man for 10 minutes. So they put the kitchen timer, they time it, and they would give beers, and they would give porn magazines to the man to make them hurry up. So we did a raid there, and after her, and the leverage of this girl was that she had a baby in Puebla, Mexico, where it's the biggest trafficking cartel of Mexico for sex trafficking. And every time that she refused to go to the fields, they would threaten to kill that baby. With the Mexican consulate, with the sheriff's department, with the police from Mexico and everybody, we were able to rescue the child. His name is Imanol. And we were able to rescue her, bring the baby back. But there were also 19 other girls there that at that time, we, NGOs or people like me, did not have the respect of immigration yet to be able to tell them, let me convince them that they need to talk. And unless, the arrest is 72 hours, if you don't talk in the 72 hours, the case was dismissed. So all these girls were returned to Mexico. By then, I was able to recruit a wonderful group of people, including the senior investigator for Channel 10 TV, who started helping me to really fight all this. I have had cases from the Philippines, which is modern day slavery, and it wasn't prostitution. And it was the big transnationals, and the recruitment is very strange because in May, it starts in Philippines with the big transnational companies that are recruiting people for work, which is, like servant work or nanny work or any kind of work. And then these women that were being recruited for that were coming to places like Dubai and hired by, actually the person that I had was from one of the royal families. So they recruited there and they were enslaved there. Of course, the transnational businessman would get X amount of money, but then these women would be now in the service of the royal families or any other families that you can consider, and they were brought here. So one of the girls that I had in this, her name is, because she's still our client, but even though she's independent and wonderful, her name was Marites. Marites was not the first one to come out. There were two other girls. Marites was the last one, because she was the most fearful one that we were able to take away from this family. Okay? So, the first one was from Indonesia. The second one was from Ethiopia. And the third one was Marites. So you can imagine the diverse, global enterprise that human trafficking is, that I had 3 victims from 3 different countries with one family. Another girl that I had from the Philippines, her name was Elena, and she was recruited to come and teach in the United States. When she got here, there was no teaching. The teaching was short clothes and high heels. And it was in Texas. We rescued her, and at this time, it was very difficult at this time, at the beginning of human trafficking, to prove that this girl was a victim of human trafficking, so she was sent back to the Philippines. Who's responsible for this? In globalization, there is the law of offer and demand. That is globalization. When the demand exceeds the offer, you have a problem, right? And then you have a way of recruiting people for cheap labor, cheap agricultural labor, cheap servants, cheap sex, cheap everything. So that's how human trafficking started. Where did it start? I truly believe that a lot of the responsibility was in the wars and keeping our boys happy in other parts of the world, like Japan, with comfort women, like Philippines and other places. And it just, transpired into another horrendous world. And the law of offer and demand, of course, is also men. And it doesn't mean pointing the finger, it means telling men how is it that we're going to solve this problem. That every time you pay for sex, you get 3 new girls recruited into the industry. Now, my office is here in National City Boulevard, right on the blade of 241 National City Boulevard. And when we interviewed the girls that are prostituting there, because I do, and they come in and shop at the thrift store, I asked who is their major client. The major client is the military. 90% of the girls is the military. So you say, okay, so let me go and try to educate the military. So I did. They opened the doors first to Miramar one time, 2 years before, in Camp Pendleton, sorry. And I spoke about the age of consent according to the Palermo Protocol and everything. The age of consent for a girl was 18. And then somebody who's a lawyer in the military came and said, oh, Marisa, that's not so inside a military camp. The age of consent inside a military camp is 16. Oh, my God. What do you mean? The age of consent inside a military camp is 16. So then you wonder why you have 24 pimps arrested in Oceanside. What were they doing? Where were they bringing the girls? Inside Camp Pendleton. What are they doing here? Inside 32nd Street base, because it's really easy. You let a guy say, let's bring the girl in, you have an ID, and basically they go in, they prostitute the girls, the minors, and you're out. They don't necessarily need to be in the street. It started getting to be a really good business for ranch owners, for the strawberry fields, for the tomato fields, for all kinds of fields, right? In North County. And who do we sell the tomatoes to? And the strawberries? To the military. So cheap labor is really important so you can get the best negotiation with these people. So the use of force, fraud, and coercion is what keeps these people in check. If you're a peon that works in cultural fields, I'm going to tell you if I'm, a trafficker or an owner of an agricultural field, for each one of you that I call La Migra for, I can get 10 more like you. So that you settle for $3 an hour or $4, or you're done. I call La Migra and they'll get you out and you're deported. So they will work the field for a lot less, but you need to consider that in globalization, Mexico and other countries, the earning salary is 50 pesos a day. And here is maybe $50 a day. So sending home X amount of money is cheaper. So the convolution goes on. I'm giving you an overview so you understand. So then we have Mexico and other countries saying the greatest revenue that we have for Mexico, one is the tourism, and second, the people that are working outside of the United States. The second biggest revenue of money, to the Philippines, to Mexico, to Honduras, is from the people that are working here in the United States. It's part of the Mexican economy, it's part of the Filipino economy, it's part of every single economy that you can imagine. So when you go and tell the consul of Mexico, I want you to do something, what they were doing and what they had been doing was distributing condoms without the information for human trafficking. So when you confront them and you say, what are you doing? I had the consul run out and escape, because what I was saying was right. I wrote a letter, we've been writing letters to have people understand that this is not the right way to do it. So you have in human trafficking servitude. So we have had 12 years old that have been sold to older men. But it's not only the Mexicans, and it's not only the Guatemalans, and it's not only Central America. And now you know it's not only the Philippines. Because I can lure anyone from the Philippines and tell them I'm going to teach them nursing here, and then enslave them. Because the greatest people and the most famous people in the world for compassion and caring of people are the Filipino nurses in the medical field. So it's very easy to lure young girls for that. Modeling agencies and everybody by selling and saying the drink. With that said, we need to consider that people need to know the methods of how is it that these people are able to recruit people from all over the world. We have had people from India that had a specialized work here, recruited again by a global organization to come here and work in IT, computing and things. They were enslaved. So, but it doesn't just go that way. The industry has also preferences in the sex industry, which is now, I think, don't want to say it wrong, but I think it's about $30-something billion a year. There are movies out there that you can look into also that may, give you an idea of the sex trade from Mexico. But there's one called Not My Life, which shows globally all the kinds of human trafficking that we have, including the fisheries, including the tapestry of children, including everything that you can imagine that a human being is usable for. Now, knowing this and knowing the recruitment and knowing that organ trafficking exists, within the Palermo Protocol, which is the international document that the United States signed and ratified, which is the only one about to be that was ratified, it states organ trafficking. Not so in the Trafficking in Persons Protect Act. So we have a big problem because the demand for children organs is huge. So you're starting to see a lot of the children from other countries being taken for this reason. And we just began the investigation and to try to prove it. And there was a newspaper article on the cartel of Tamaulipas and Michoacán. And there's also denunciations in Costa Rica. I had a great friend from RAT, the RAT Team Mercosur, who had to run from Argentina because he had discovered an organ trafficking ring of children and blood, blood trade. The day that he made the denunciation to the government, he had 100 death threats. So he had to run from Argentina, he's in Uruguay, and he's waiting for the documents of the United States to give him the asylum here. Sad enough, and close enough, I got some pictures sent from the World Cup in Brazil in a town called Esperanza, which is another reason why these children are easy targets to be recruited for all kinds of things, sex, you name it. And the picture showed maybe 20 to 25 children slaughtered, with dismembered, and they were very little, to about 16 or 17. I got about 5 to 6 different pictures on something called social cleansing. So the streets of that town would not see the children begging for food. Trafficking is easy when the economy is bad, when you have throwaways and runaways. But including it only to the United States children is wrong. Dr. Richard Estes, who gave the first number of children at risk, not, in it, at risk of 350,000 children at risk, included, of course, throwaways, runaways, it included international children, unaccompanied minors, it included everything. It was very easy for somebody to come and twist that and say, we have 350,000 American children being prostituted. Not so. This is not it. It was at risk. So when you try to prevent something and you're trying to tell your communities, your children may be at risk, there has to be the prevention. Globalization means also the internet. It means horrendous things in the internet. I'm very proud to say that Red Book was shut down by the FBI yesterday. Red Book is where men classified how good a prostitute was in performing. I'm not kidding you, that's what Red Book is. So money laundering and all kinds of things that they're charged with, and then somebody says, well, their money's offshore, who cares? There are certain negotiations where you can get the money that these people have been sending on laundering, offshore. But what about how is it that we as a community can teach children at the different ages? So I am a doer, and I don't follow everybody. So I discovered, I love Walt Disney. So I was watching Pinocchio. And I said, oh my God, Pinocchio was trafficked. If you figure it out, he's going to school, right? And the fox and the cat recruit him and offer him what? Fame, fortune, and he's going to be sold to what? The circus. And yes, he becomes famous, and then the circus man cages him out, remember? And then the fairy mother comes and he's lying, and she takes him out, and then there's this thick, fat man giving the fox and the cat money to recruit children to this place where they can have all the candy and everything else, but they're being turned into what? Labor donkeys. Remember? So, Walt Disney had it right 50 years ago. So I had the opportunity to get into Cherokee Point Middle School with Pinocchio. And of course, the way to tell the kids, I said, you all know Pinocchio life. But you are detectives right now, I want you to tell me what else happened. One day I will show you the beautiful letters of the kids. I will never talk to any stranger in going to school. I will learn how to scream. I will learn how to do this, because then you teach them how to scream. On a program that we have from the Center of Missing and Exploited Children called Take 25. Phone numbers. Prevention, prevention, prevention. Does anybody here know what PNB means? Parent nearby. When you see PNB, in the lingo of the computers, it means that they're doing something not right because they're warning somebody that they have a parent near. How do we monitor normalization of things that are not normal? There was I don't know if it still exists, but there is a series of TV called Stripperella. She strips by night and she's a secret agent by day. So you're normalizing stripping as something wonderful. Like I just saw on the TV the other day, all strippers are going to law school. And that's how they're paying the law school. What else? What else? So the recruitment of children is based on, and our children or any other international is like a cookie cutter, it's the same thing. Money, fame, a home. You'll be able to dress nice. Of course, if you're my merchandise, I'm going to dress you nice, right? And take you to Victoria's Secret and do all these wonderful things for you. The talk now in the schools is, I need to get myself a sugar daddy. Hello? Why? Because it's protection. Because that man is going to give them what they want. They may even buy them a car. And where are the parents? They're busy working and they're saying, oh, my child would never do that. Every time that a parent comes traumatized into my office, is I thought my daughter, I can never believe that my daughter will do that. I'm a Christian or I was educated as a Catholic. Oh my God. You have to come up to the times to see what is it that is going on. We're trying right now as PSCC to open a parent group. We have an emergency hotline, we have an emergency response shelter, and we have one with the marriage missionaries that takes the girls up to 2 years, but it's only 5 beds for the transitional housing and 3 beds for emergency. There's a lot of goodwill people out there that want to help, but they're doing their own thing. And like all Americans do, sometimes we did in college too, because I studied college here. Remember literature for dummies, where you used to read the books, but you know, a little version, not the big one. Huh? Exactly, you know, the yellow and black. They still existed when I was there, you know, so when I didn't have time to read the book, oh my God, the Iliad and the Odyssey, they were so big, we all cheated. So, to be honest with you, they get a Reader's Digest information of what human trafficking is. And now, everything has imploded into our children, the US children. And nobody is considering what is also coming in that you don't know about, that they are not illegals. These children are lured and under forced role and coercion and brought here. They are not illegals. This is a different dichotomy. These are children and women and men that are being trafficked and are here on the forced role and coercion. I got a girl, a woman actually, she's 45, who owes the triad in China such an enormous amount of money that the only thing she wanted when she was brought here to prostitute was to be able to send back that money that, you know, that she could, because she was being forced to do this, so she could have her son not be killed in China, in Beijing. Not being killed because she had a debt to pay to the triad. That's organized crime. We have organized crime here. We're just not looking into it. We have the Yakuza. We have the Russian mafia right here. We have all kinds of mafia. We have all kinds of newcomers, old comers, but they're here. Organized crime is here. If we do not look into it the right way, what's going to happen? How do we protect the women? How do we not perk our antennas and see, oh, this place is really nice, for elderly people? How are my Filipino girls doing there? Are they safe? Are they really not being forced to do this? That's on the nursing industry. So you need to look in the food industry, massage industry, beauty parlor industry, and nursing industry, and perk up the antennas and be able to ask the questions. When, where, how, and with whom are you safe? Where do you work? Where do you live? In every community, the traffickers prostitute or enslave the people in their own enclaves. Orange County. Where do you think Orange County has the most? The Vietnamese community. The largest Vietnamese community in the United States is in Orange County. The Chinese. Where do you hide the Chinese? San Francisco. You got it. Where do you hide the Mexican?
Arizona.
Right. California,
And Arizona.
Arizona, but that's not the biggest one. North Carolina is the biggest one. Aha! And isn't it incredible? And you know why? It's the circuits. It's called the circuits of agricultural trafficking because they move them. So that these people are smart. So you have the strawberry picking, the tomato picking here, but then you have the apple, the pears. You move them. Now we have the meat industry. I had Bottom Island people that were taking, that were in a factory where they plucked the chicken feathers. Yeah, I didn't even know that they plucked the feathers. Until I heard them. You mean you're going to an industry of plucking feathers? And when we rescued them and we tried to put the microwave on, they ran out the door because they could hardly even speak Spanish. So I had to find somebody that spoke help these people. They ran when they saw the microwave. They thought it was going to explode. So you had to teach them, but they were very dexterous, so we made bracelets and things. So each enclave has its way of doing things.
Marisa. Yeah, then we have time for the question and answer.
Okay, yeah, we have 10 minutes for questions. I hope you understand we're here. We do prevention, we do real training, we do crisis intervention, we do, we help the girls, and we also help the prosecution. Okay, and we help them find them and get them, the bad guys. Okay, so that's what we do, and we're right here in National City. Thank you. Questions?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to congratulate you for doing a noble job. Your vision is, I believe, is driven from I don't know where. So my question is, how did you get involved in these activities? That's my first question.
How do I get involved?
Yeah, what drives you to get involved in this activity? And my second question is, are you getting any death threat for this?
Yeah.
Because you are endangering some other people's business, That's my two questions.
Okay, first question, I got involved in it since Mexico City, okay? Because I lived there for part of my youth and I started discovering what sexual exploitation of children was really like. The only death threat that I had in all these years is being in Mexico City when I went to speak there. Only one.
So far.
It's been 15 years and I haven't had, but you guess what? I even had the pimps come over in my thrift store. And one of the pimps came with a girl and said, hey, can you help her get her babies back? And I said, yeah, if you stop pimping and I'll get you into a catering business or something, and you leave this business, I'll help you get the children. Here's a number, come back whenever you want. Hurting it is not us. They're doing something illegal, so the basic thing is who's arresting them is not me. I'm an NGO, so I'm going to speak to you straight on who you are and what you are. If you're going to be a pimp, I say you need to stop doing that. And I would, I would use a couple of bad words too.
Yes, I understand you are also trying to help this work of yours through your business. That is, and are you getting any support from the government, like some kind of grant?
This has been our biggest problem. Okay, that's the problem that we have had a little bit on this. We were getting funding from the Republican. We're bipartisan. We don't have a problem with that. But we knew that when the government changed to Democrat, there's two movements, one pro-legalization and also our human rights. So in 4 years, we haven't had any grants. We're crossing our fingers. So for the past 4 years, it's been donations, foundation money a little bit, and the thrift store. If I hadn't opened the thrift store that some people here helped me paint the walls, we wouldn't have survived as we are now, okay? We're in the hopes that this whole thing change and we can get some funding.
As an entire Filipino community, what can we do? What's our next step? As an entire Filipino community as a whole, what can we do next? What's our next step?
Are there any Filipinos?
By doing these
How can they involve?
As a group, Filipino.
You can get involved in the thrift store, but I also love to give you trainings, on those that are willing to help me with the emergency phone. I do training so you can answer the phone. You can also be a spokesman in your community by giving your little small PowerPoints that you can talk to other people in schools, in your communities, in your churches. That's really important. So things don't get diversified. See what I mean? I think that's really important.
How do you locate your victims?
Law
How do you locate the victims? Like, how do you find them?
enforcement,
Okay.
sometimes it's FBI. Immigration is the one that we've been working very closely with. Right now, I did give a case to FBI.
So
4
they
days ago.
contact you and let you know?
Yeah, and they bring the girls. National City Police, I have a great rapport with them, and with the mayor too. Actually, I need to go talk to them about something else. The mayor too, he's giving us support. Juan Vargas, who is also here, is a great supporter. What you need to understand is that the money and whatever goes, I have ways of making it happen where people are comfortable with what we're doing with the money. Because there's a lot of shiesty people out there. What we need the most sometimes is food carts, food for less, that kind of stuff. You can buy them for $25, it doesn't cost anybody. We have a PayPal account. Another one is Burlington Company. I asked because I need their Walmart sucks for good underwear, okay? For the girls, all right? So Burlington Factory has it. So they're giving me cards for $25 for Burlington Company, sometimes Target. Okay. So that goes there. I want you to know we have 27 cases open right now. Bus passes. You know how much a bus pass costs, right? So if I have 27 victims, how much money do I need for bus passes? 10 would be $750 a month. So unless you do something. Some of them, the international, somebody pays for them. But the locals, So minimum is $750 on bus passes for the girls that we have sheltered. Books. We all enroll them in City College. English as a second language, right across. All these things are provable. You understand what I mean? The rent of my place is provable. Do you think sometimes I get stuck. Tax month, last year and this year, $18 a day on sales in the thrift store, and you're going, what do? I need to pay the rent. $18 a day. We did tried all kinds of marketing things, and we put $5 affiliate a bag, one of the supermarket bags for $5 of beautiful clothes. Everybody was very worried about that. So it's a problem.
Yeah. Before we take a 5-minute break, can you give us your phone number, your website, so that people can know more about how they can
Marisa,
you haven't mentioned your relationship with Operation Samahan, because most of the healthcare services are being given by Operation Samahan.
Oh yeah, Operation Samahan and I have a very good relationship for many years, especially with the Filipino and the Asian community. Also access. They help me, but sometimes Aurora is in a sliding scale. So we still have to pay about $35 for something. And sometimes they forget that we're a non-profit and the medicine costs $250. So I have to send my clients back and I say, you need to give me the generic. Because everything costs, and girls have diseases, and they have problems, and they need therapy. But, at least it's just scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. So we also do a lot of, good things in a relationship.
Our church, Reggie and I belong to the Eastlake Community Church, and they also support the bilateral safety corps.
Yes, they are paying the rent for the emergency response.
And also, guys, if you have any ideas of fundraising, please, reach out to Marisa. We will have a feng shui fundraising. If you guys are interested, I can give you the information.
Oh, he can give you. Can you give him something where our information?
Oh, sure.
So can you announce your number, telephone
Yes.
number?
Let me give you my phone number, and this is my cell, and then I'll give you the office number. 3 numbers I'll give you. First is the office, 619-336-0770.
Can you repeat that?
619-336-0770. The second is the emergency number, 619-666, 2757. And the third is my cell phone, 619-459-8559. I love to give you trainings. I love to do outreach with you. We have now a poster for businesses that you can put, that we have done, that is a really good one. And they're mandated to put them in business. And if you don't, if the first time that you don't put that poster is $500, and the second time is $1,000. All that money is supposed to go for the district attorneys and for the NGOs, not just mine. Some of the ones that are also doing the work. Okay?
Thank you, Marisa.
Thank you.
This is just the beginning. This is going to be opportunities. We're going to have a lot of more discussion and perhaps articles. And I'd like to mention also that in the Philippines, speaking about organ donation, there's an island there in the South Harbor near Balot. They call it a one-kidney island.
Wow.
Because the squatters community live there, and most of the people that have donated their one kidney.
For $10,000.
For money. For money.
And it's illegal.
Can you just shudder, the thing about those children that are suffered? So we're going to do it again. We're going to continue to keep this issue alive. And we're going to try to make your conscience so that you can help. We're going to have a 5-minute break, but Oh, I almost forgot. I have to give my donation.
Please donation.
I hope you don't forget.
There's a box over there. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's because of the fact that
Really interested. Follow it up.
let's call you run my number, and then we can
Please stay for the second part because, you know, this is also a very important issue that we will be discussing and we would like input.
Oh, that's the one you have for you? Okay.
Yeah, okay, so that's not. I was interested in that. I was asking them what the responses I can get a task.
This is the one.
Okay, good.
Oh, Lolita. Everything is local. Aurora, give me your phone number, please. Remember, I'm going to invite you to the
Thank you.